And we're back for our Let's Play of Neyyah. Last time we explored the Scarlety Towers. Well, we couldn't actually get to the tower part, but there's also the Lodvik Tower, whatever that was. Some stuff there for later, presumably. And now we're at, where was it again? Pinorvia Point, yes. Just checking. Huh. Locked. Wait a tick. Yay. Well, that's one way to open the door. Or lock it, I mean. And what do we got here? Sort of meeting hall. Oh boy, more reading. The hardest thing at the Paita. Let these words of our land, our blood, keep on empowering our people to shine, to be the best we can be, learn from our mistakes to make Visalta a better world to live in. By the order of Lord Quananovic, I, the seal, and the four rulers of Visalta, do hereby share my knowledge of our Visaltian ways. The sun was setting, sending rays of orange and purple light to paint the wooden planks of the harbor bridge below my feet, creaking ever so softly, but through the otherwise calm lull of the sea breeze. That evening was a memorable moment, having returned earlier that day from a successful Paita harvest with two of the harvesters based on Falitzu Island, Viok and Caleb. Before I'd stepped foot onto the boat docked at the harbor, Viok met me close to Chianti Hall. I rejoiced at the sound of many workers enjoying one another's company and the warm embrace of delicious drinks and food. I felt comforted that our efforts to keep a productive and happy community thriving were proving successful. The foul Lydian was prospering. Viog told me that the vanishing furnace at the gun tower, which the workers on Neyyah refer to as Larity, needed to be activated before we could depart the harbor to sail the Scarlety Towers. Caleb met us at the bottom of the tower where the Levandus crystal furnace was situated. Never seen one of those mechanisms in operation before. One Levandus crystal from the Erlanish rock is placed within the furnace. A clamp with a needle is used to penetrate the neat crystal and keep it secured underneath the metal shade. Brought over the crystal on a small round spinning concrete table. A gas called Lodivian is released from the crystal once the furnace is activated. Gas is lifted up to into the top floor of the gun tower, powering all the guns mounted there. This all needs to be operational before the harvest is brought back to the harbor from the Scarlety Towers, so defenses are in place against any possible Elopolite attacks. As well as this, the Elopolite shield is banned before the boats can depart for a harvest. The plasma bulb shield itself needs to be prepared for an activation if any Elopolite attack occurs. Usually, four workers can easily man the shield's plasma fountain flute system, and Golar crafts need to be positioned at the correct stations at the Elopolite shield. Elopolite attacks were once happily targeted at the harbor due to the arrival of the Paita harvest, and Drew's Kala Frikel's thirst for the Paitas. The shield is now more of a precaution than a required defense measure. Despite Jerusalem's whereabouts remaining unknown, there have been no sightings of his Elopolite creations for a good few years. Sedation chamber's been inactive at the Glorific mines for quite some time now. So with everything in place, we were finally able to board the boat docked at the harbor. The lead of Triangle Gateway started to rise, bringing on beautiful white rays of sunlight. One of the harbor operators worked the spin rod mechanism built on the shore of a small watchtower, enabling the boat to start its descent down the main ramp using machinery built many moons ago at Visaltian Pass, before the rail cart tracks were constructed from the harbor to the Paita factory for immediate delivery. Before long, we'd set sail, cutting up the glistening white strips of sunlight that kissed the ocean waves. A flock of telebrock birds flew overhead as though helping to guide us on our voyage. We were instructed by Caleb that a second boat will be meeting us halfway on our journey. The boat will be the second harvest collector to fulfill the Paita harvest operations at the levitation crane. I soon spotted the shape of the Scarlety Tower's walled basin, where three big rounded chambers split blue sky behind them in impressive silhouettes. A gorgeous mix of high concrete walls plated in golden plaques depicting the Visaltian flora, were the foundations of a walkway connecting to each of the 3 towers together. Another flock of Talabrock birds swept over us as the grinding metal gears of the 2 entrances into the basin of the Scarlet Towers began to grow into life. Our boats were heaped with crates ready to store the Paitas. They rattled endlessly as we passed through the gate into the flooded basin of the Scarlet Towers. Then the thunderous cheer of the Fizalchan audience burst into life, onlookers getting ready to witness the spectacle about to take place. Having arrived here for this special occasion from various areas of Fizalta, Neyyah provided a fantastic presentation of Paita harvesting unlike any other Philidian. Our boat was suddenly enshrouded by bright sunlight, and the silhouettes of the Scarlet Towers loomed above us. The levitation crane awaited us. We continued sailing over the still calm waters that had filled the basin of the Scarlet Towers. People gathered at specific entrances into the arena, pushing themselves against the railings, cheering as loud as they could at the sight of our approaching boats about to embark on a process which served as a crucial bloodline to this land. Vioque anchored the boat halfway from the entrance into the basin and the chute of the levitation tower, consisting of a cylinder of gold metal with a large gap in its center, tapering up towards a giant rod fused with various sized Levandus crystals. This served as the main power source of the levitation required to bring the Paitas out of water, ready for collection. The crane began to burst into life. 2 large half-disc-shaped metal plates started closing in towards the Levandus crystal power source, and the crystals start glowing a bright green. These clamps would help power and focus the levitation crane's energy into the center of the chute. Our boats were getting very close at this stage, nearing the center of the chute where the Paitas would be levitated out of the water. Interruption was occurring below the water's surface, causing the water inside the chute of the levitation crane to swell. The levitation was in progress, signaled by a loud screech of shifting metal high above the crane. The hum of the crane's energy started to ring deep in my ears. Vibrations surged through the boat and worked their way deep into my bones. I never felt anything like this before. I knew that the harvesting of the Paitas required such a powerful source of energy. But I could also feel how primal it was. The service of the Paitas, untouched for years, now being brought to open air for the first time. Vodanovic had done well in choosing this specific location for an harvesting. Slowly, the white orb shapes of the emerging, newly harvested Paitas began to rise out of the water. Vioque signaled to me that it was now time to start approaching the tower. While the Paitas were levitating at the center of the crane chute, the energy of levitation was at a safe level to begin the harvesting process. The cheers of the surrounding onlookers grew louder, a intense rush of excitement flew in the arena. Reaching the clouds of fled waters of the basement almost faster to vibrating energy of the levitation crane. I looked up and witnessed the workers at the Scarlet Towers leaning out the windows, most likely due to having a finished task required to make the levitation process run smoothly. I almost forgot myself, too. This audience had become aware that one of the Fizalchan rulers would be present for this specific harvest. I wouldn't say my presence here made much of a difference to the operation being conducted today. Vioque and Caleb were prime examples of the hard work and dedication needed to oversee the harvesting of the Paitas. While I had been aware of Quanovic's push for new designs and Paita harvesting mechanisms, I had not fully understood its powers, its complexities, or the raw power required from Philidian workers. They were the true heroes. Once we were close enough to the chute of the levitation crane, Vioque used rope to secure a boat to the wooden posts close to a ladder leading up the side of the chute. While I stayed in the boat, Vioque climbed the ladder to a small platform jutting out halfway up the side of the chute and opened the door which led inside the crane itself. The second boat began to slowly move in towards the center of the crane. There was a shift in the energy flow emitted from the crystals. I felt the water below the boat swell for a second. The hum of energy running through the metal of the chute started to change, lowering its frequency. Before long, a bright green glow emitted by the Levandus crystals had about started to dim, replaced by a cool shade. From where I was positioned on the boat, I could see the Paitas had now fallen back to the water's surface. The second boat was now slowly moving to the center of the chute to collect beautiful white orbs, which would later become the colorful keys and power used on every Philidian on Feamor. We left the Scarlet Towers with 8 crates of Paitas, a very successful harvest. Upon my return to the harbor, Vioque and Caleb departed to the Chianti Hall to rest and enjoy some leisure time after a hard afternoon's work. I decided to join another worker by the name of Elisan in transporting the Paitas to the cart nearby. The Paita factory would receive these Paitas on the other side of the rail, where the Paioltish clan could self-perform their magic of the newly harvested Paitas. My moments spent harvesting the Neyyah filled me with a great pride and joy, knowing how strong our community has become as a working force, as a people. I'm so proud of the men and women working so hard in delivering our resources needed to keep building our world and feeding the soul of our community. Neyyah flourishes. It's quite an adventure. Quite a read too, but what can I say? Okay, what's at anything at the desk? A nameplate. Well, not a nameplate. Hi, Haylist of Pinorvia clan, come before you at Pinorvia Point. Within the walls of these great main chambers to greet and welcome the other members of the Pinorvia clan under the watch of this Valedian community. I'm here to serve, guide, and protect the people of this Valedian under the land of Pelskas. Neyyah and aid discussions relevant to strengthening our community, hearing the voice of our people, and helping develop the harvesting and delivery of our Paidas. Neyyah Fazalta, and Neyyah Quadrinovic. Okay, well that was an easier read. What about this one? Well, this one looks just gone. Okay then. What about here? And the Bell Voltage Clan, serve guide, protect. I think this is just the same thing. Just like different name. Official speaking, you know. Alright, book number, well, I guess 3. Swear I've seen these symbols before. Let these words of our land, our blood, keep on empowering our people to shine, to be the best we can be, and learn how from our mistakes to make Fazalta a better world to live in. By order of Lord Quadrinovic, I, Yanarta, one of the 4 rulers of Fazalta, do hereby share my knowledge of our Fazaltian ways. Creation at the Polk Towers. Once Hayan had perished and Jerus had gone into hiding, myself and the other 3 rulers of Fazalta decided that extra security and protection measures needed to be implemented. Levitation Crane was the main concern. It needed to be separated from the rest of Neyyah, just as the Velatron Temple had been separated from the rest of Valedian via a portal built deep inside a deep cavern. During this time, murals had also been drawn up, depicting our 4 core processes behind the importance of the Paidas. They are placed around the walls of the cavern, where the portal to the Velatron Temple sat as its center. Paidas would be required to enter the portal cave, which was built into the cliffs on the Lamantis coastal coastline, and the portal's activation would also require the 4 members of the Eldritch clan to insert Paidas. Lord Quadrinovic brought together the members of the Eldritch clan and worked alongside an engineer named Geob Scarlety, son of the Liafalk Scarlety, who designed the Scarlety Towers. You don't say. I thought that name was rather common, could have been anyone. Together, they developed a very powerful teleportation system, strong enough to be able to separate large areas of land. 4 towers were built called Volk Towers, which contained a very complicated plasma energy stored within the walls of the towers, running deep down into rocky islands each Volk Tower was built upon. The plasma is very well protected. If towers are destroyed and explode with certain energy sent out across a large radius, which will destroy anything in its path. Okay, don't touch those then. Volk Towers also send energy to large areas of Neyyah that require power, such as old Fazaltian light systems and the mechanisms once used to power the old portal to the Velatron Temple. Scarlety Towers was the one area of Neyyah which was required to remain in its original location, due to where the Paidas were grown below the levitation grade. 3 other major land masses were separated, however, consisting of Falitsu Island, Pinorvia Point, and Glorfiak Mines, while a sanctuary zone was created for a Neyyah plant area, forming a center point for being able to access these 4 areas of Neyyah via powerful portal systems called Toledo portals. Someone broke Falitsu Island further from what I've seen. Huge distances were put between these areas of Neyyah, generating various weather systems and time zones. Machines were created to keep track of these different details associated with the bulk separated areas of Neyyah, the sun's position, location of Neyyah, and the current weather temperature. Each Volk Tower shows its active power source with a large Toledo portal symbol built on top of each tower, glowing bright with the color of the specific Neyyah location. Volk Towers have enabled Neyyah to remain protected from any potential Elopolite attack and keep the production of Paidas prospering. Alright, that book was shorter than I expected. Good to know. Also, those towers seem to do something. powers a portal to a secret temple thing. Sounds fun. I, Latroka, the Pieltish clan, came for you at Pinorvia Point with also the yada yada yada. Serve, guide people in strengthening the land. Yeah. Hold on. Well, there's something on the table. I just saw it. Oh, it's a little scale model of the thing. You got the towers there. You got 4 symbols. Neat. Alright, book number 3. Ooh. This guy looks spooky. Let these words of our land, our blood, keep on empowering our people to shine, to be the best we can be, and learn from our own mistakes to make Vizalta a better world to live in. By the order of Lord Quanovic, I, Bellicane, one of the 4 rulers of Vizalta, do hereby share my knowledge of our Vizaltian ways. The Pieltish clans and the betrayal. Dramatic. Each Validian can generate a wealth of paitas, natural pearls which grow deep underwater at certain locations of the failed Moor's vast oceans. Quanovic designed ways to harvest these pearls, once realizing the natural energies that can be extracted from them, powering various areas of Vizalta. The defenses we have against our enemies, through the fuel required for various mechanical operations. However, one Validian was the location for what was termed as the Creation. Creation is performed by a specific set of individuals called Pieltish clans who are sent to Quan, far into the very heart of Vizalta, where they are trained by our Lord Quanovic in molding the fresh paita pearls. Specifically designed factories are built and equipped with a variety of mechanisms in which to aid the Pieltish clans in generating the power for paitas to become operational. On Quan, the chosen members who make up the clans undergo vigorous training, sustaining immunity against a gas called biofil, which gets stored in large tanks at the center of the factory buildings. Human-sized capsules are connected to these tanks, which Pieltish clan members are locked into. I've seen them on the factory. Adorned with max to breathe into biofil, the Pieltish clan enter a dreamlike state, the likes of which are still left ambiguous to this day. However, speculation has led to the idea that in order to bear such powers, bringing powerful energy to these natural resources on Feamor, there may very well be a connection to the very realm of the Pelskas itself. Can't imagine what this must do to one's mind. It's also important that only a very specific amount of biofil gas is released into each capsule. An overdose of the gas is definitely fatal. Pieltish members need to work together in order for the creation process to be successful. They need to be locked inside the capsules for half an hour, guarded by a Validian warrior, who's usually specifically chosen to guard and protect each member of the Pieltish clan. Once the process is completed, paitas can be lowered down to a bottom level of the paita factory ready for collection. At this stage, the paitas have been molded and shaped, coated and colored into the newly created paitas which provide power across Vizalta. Neyyah, or it used to be called the Blue Validian, was a specifically designed Validian requiring the power of 5 Pieltish clan members to power the paitas. One particular Pieltish clan member by the name of Cheruz Calafrykel oversaw the development of the Velatron, a machine designed to cleanse the paitas so they are recharged and could be reused. Well, that sounds like fun. He was very close to the 4 rulers of Vizalta and became obsessed with the Velatron developing its capabilities. Over time, he betrayed the Pieltish clans and the 4 rulers of Vizalta, insisting he would protect an ancient sea serpent on Feamor called the Neyyah. Odd thing to quit your job to go on some random hobby thing, but like, whatever you do. Instead, he would run experiments on them. Okay, never mind. And other Vizaltians. Okay, good God. Illopolites became the result of Illopoli and human transformations. These creatures served Cheruz in one of the biggest battles ever fought against Vizalta. Cheruz was bent on the idea of capturing the Velatron machine for what he termed his next stage of his ascending. Oh boy. He believed he had the power of the paita within him, the power of Feamor itself. Thus a defense was made. Gun towers constructed on the edges of cliff edges. Yeah, okay. looking out across the open seas and armed with various weapons to fight off any Lopolite attacks. It was the attack on the bridge to the Velatron Temple which led to the death of Payan, one of the most acclaimed, well-known warriors of the Blue Felidian. Once he had died, Lord Quinonovic desired the name the Blue Felidian should be changed to Hayan, named after this fearsome warrior who had died defending the Velatron machine. However, his family didn't want his name associated with what he would refer to as a place of death. Fair enough. Well, the Lopolites were eradicated, and Charus had fled far away to a place still unknown to this day. The Blue Felidian had become a heavy military base. A feeling of looming war rested in the air, and for a while this Felidian felt unsafe. Pelskos were told to be on high alert, as in their protection of all Felidians across Valimor. So as a compromise, Quinonovic decided on Neyyah as the new name for the Blue Felidian, a reflection of Hayan's name, imprinting his force, his memory, and his fierceness within the Felidian. Wait, Hayan, Neyyah, Hayan, Neyyah. Neat. The Velatron machine remains protected, now separated from the rest of Neyyah, in a portal built to link the temple back to the rest of the Felidian. Drew's Califrikel's location still remains a mystery. In the Neyyah Fizalta, in the spirit of the Hayan, Neyyah stands proud as one of the strongest fortified areas of Fizalta. Okay. Dramatic. I mean, if he wanted to stab them in the back, why get all Machiavellian about it? I mean, you built the machine. Like, presumably you got the schematics, just like fake you're deaf and go somewhere else. But what do I know? I'm just a guy with a... I don't know. Megalomaniacs. I, Gelatrum, and the Paleitish clan welcome you coming for you at Pinorvia Point. Paleitish clan, yeah. So, I don't know what the hell an Lopolite looks like, but apparently it's an eel person. And they're very angry. So I'm just going to nod. But I will zoom in on this thing right here. Back up. Zoom in. Yep, that's yellow. No, I'm just poking around. It's a very neat model. Shame I have to weasel around to get a good look at it. Yeah. Whatever. Nice leather chairs, by the way. Some sort of crocodile? I don't know. Ooh. Well, this was something, wasn't it? Some sort of spirit battle? Question mark? What else is here? What else is here? Well, there's stairs leading up. And there's also, that's the way we came. Yeah, I think we've done enough reading for now. We'll be back next time.